What is up, everyone? Welcome to Game Week 13's top captaincy picks. In this video, I'm going to show you 4 players who are the top captaincy picks that I would recommend for Game Week 13. So, let's get into the video. Alright, so before we get into this slide, let's first of all, if you're new, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button as well, and let me know how your season's gone before, and are you a returning subscriber or are you a new subscriber? A lot of the people who visit the channel are new people, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. Alright, so let's get started. So now, the way I do this is basically, I look at the last 4 game weeks in terms of their minutes per expected goals and minutes per expected goals conceded. The stats are taken from the Fantasy Football Scouts members area. And basically, I highlight the top 4 teams for both categories in green. The next 4, which is from teams 5 to 8 in yellow or in orange, whichever way you look at it. And then the bottom 4 teams in red. Okay, so that's what you see the highlights. And then basically, I try to pick the best attack against the worst defense most of the time. Sometimes it's not the case where I've suggested Liverpool as number 1, while Southampton are in the top 4 for defense. But then again, Liverpool are just so good. And if you watched the video last week, you would have seen that Arsenal were also in that top 8 for defense, but Liverpool still managed to put 4 past them. So in those specific cases, I take that into context, and based on that, I give my recommendations. So having said all of that, I've suggested Liverpool as number 1, Chelsea potentially as number 2, Arsenal number 3, and Brentford number 4, because most of those teams except for Liverpool are going against weak defenses. So having said all of that, let's get into the video. Alright, so now Salah is my number 1 pick, and if you're a returning subscriber, you might see something new that I've added on the side of the heat map as well, side of Salah's heat map, which is Salah's XG shots. That's what you see next to Salah's heat map, and the one below is the XG shots conceded of the opposing team. So Southampton are the team they're playing. They're second in the XGC rank. They have a 2.60 XG conceded in the last 4 game weeks, with only 2 big chances conceded and 41 goal attempts, which is pretty normal in most compared to all teams. Salah's XG is 3.03, and he's had 5 big chances, 8 chances created, 4 goals and 3 assists in the last 4 game weeks. He's at 13 million right now. And as you can see, he's been very effective. Like, even the last game, he was pretty effective. He tried his best to get a goal and eventually got that goal. And he's been ticking along with the points, and he's a very safe pick right now. Currently, he's second on the XGI charts for the last 4 game weeks, with only Josh King above him. So he's a pretty safe pick. He seems to be getting returns consistently. So I don't see any reason why anyone should really go away from Salah, unless you can find if you're trying to climb rank and you want to take a bit of a risky punt, then you could probably do that. And the next player is someone you could potentially try that on. Reece James is the next pick here, because he's going against a very weak United defense, who are currently bottom of the table for XGC. They have the XG conceded of 8.13, 12 big chances conceded, and 64 goal attempts conceded. As you can see, the XG shots map conceded, which is at the bottom as well. You can see a lot here, like they've considered a lot in the box, a significant amount. This is Reece James's heat map, and here, this one, it's not his XG shots because he's a fullback. You're not going to see too many. What I've done is I've added his, let me just check it, confirm it. It's his chances created. And the ones in green are the ones that he's had an assist recently. So as you can see, a lot of his chances created come from that right-hand side. And that's facing United's left, where they're very weak and where they seem to concede a lot of shots. If Lukaku is back, it could really increase Reece James's appeal as well. So there's a lot to look into it. He could potentially be a really good captaincy choice. I don't think there'll be much of a bounce back, even though they have changed, like removed the manager, because the coaching staff still remain, and that's another major problem there. And so I don't expect much of a bounce back. So that's why I put Reece James as second. If you want a risky punt, he could potentially be one. Up next is Arsenal. Aubameyang is going against a poor Newcastle team. And we saw under Eddie Howe, where in his recent game, it was a 3-3 scoreline against Brentford. Shows that Newcastle are going to attack a lot this season under Eddie Howe. And they're going to create space at the back. And now, while Aubameyang's heat map is not really that great because he's at the halfway line most of the time, you ideally want a striker somewhere here. But he could potentially have space at the back. As you can see, Newcastle, they are very weak centrally. And as you look at Aubameyang's XG shots over here, you can see most of it is coming in the center of the box. Now, here Aubameyang is currently 4th on the XGI charts for the last 4 game weeks. So he's there up with the numbers in terms of when you compare to the rest of the players. He has an XG of 2.36, only 1 goal and 1 assist, however, to show for it. So he hasn't been delivering too much. 4 big chances, 3 chances created, not too bad. But against Newcastle, I can see him getting maybe a goal or 2. So here's another good punt if you want. And the last one, pretty risky. I don't really like his numbers, but Brentford, Tony, obviously hasn't been delivering too much, but Everton are pretty bad as well defensively recently. They've considered 10 big chances, XG considered of 7.83 and 19th in the XG rank, so XGC rank. So, and as you can see, most of the shots conceded in the box, a significant percentage, and Tony could potentially benefit from that. A lot of people also own Tony, and if you're compared to Aubameyang, a lot of people do own Tony. So if you're looking into maybe a differential punt, he could be another player with an XG of only 1.02. XA, it's hardly existent. Only 2 big chances, 4 chances created. Would I captain Tony? Not really. If you had Reece James and Tony, I would probably put it on Reece James more than Tony. But we'll have to see. If you have Salah, which a majority of the game does, I'll still probably pick it up on Salah. Unless you wanted a differential punt, then you could probably look at these 3 players. Apart from that, there isn't really any other standouts that I would look into. Maybe Crystal Palace against Aston Villa, Benteke maybe, but Steven Gerrard I think can improve that Villa defense, so I wouldn't expect too many goals from Crystal Palace. I wouldn't expect them to score too many. Wolves against Norwich maybe, but Wolves' attack hasn't been that great. Maybe Jimenez against Norwich could be, but then Dean Smith, again, another new manager there, so you have to take that into consideration. The same thing as Aston Villa before you go targeting these teams. They're probably not the same teams they used to be. Watford against Leicester. Now, Watford are really attacking under Claudio Ranieri, and they have increased, as you can see, up the XG charts. And Josh King is right on top right now for the last 4 game weeks with an XGI of 3.87. So Josh King could potentially be a good option against Leicester, who aren't really doing that great. So if you wanted to punt on that, Josh King may be an option. Apart from that, I probably wouldn't have anyone else. Maybe Dennis if you want, but no, don't captain him. But Josh King has had 7 big chances in the last 4 game weeks and 4 goals as well. So pretty crazy stats at 5.6 million. I think that's a pretty good return. So if anyone has Josh King still, worth the captaincy maybe if you wanted to risk it. But yeah, that's my Game Week 13 fixtures. If anyone wants, if this video helped you, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Let me know who you're going to captain ahead of Game Week 13. And obviously, 10 game weeks within less than 40 days at this point. We're going to keep you covered throughout the Christmas period. So make sure to hit that subscribe button. And we're trying to get to 100 subscribers before the start of the year. We're at 74 subscribers right now at the time of recording. So let's see if we can get to 100 subscribers before the start of the year. Hit the subscribe button. Thank you all for watching. And I'll see you tomorrow for the podcast, which will be live on YouTube. So make sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell notification so that you get notified when the podcast goes live. Until then, see you all.
Walking alone, the streets are empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for me.